Welcome to the video on supply chain management fundamentals. In this video, we will understand what is supply chain management and some basic concepts of this topic. While this subject is very vast, I will try to cover some of the basic concepts which help you understand what exactly is meant by supply chain management. Now you all have furniture at your home. It can be either in the form of a sofa or a dining table or a bed, etc. Now let's see how it has traveled through its supply chain to reach your home. So in this example, you are the customer. Now you got the furniture from either a website or a retail store. For simplicity, let's call it a retailer. So this is the retailer from where you got the furniture. Now sometimes you would have noticed that when the item that you want is not available in the retail store, the storekeeper says that they can get it to you a day later from the warehouse. So the retailer is getting the goods from the warehouse or the distributor. The warehouse is getting the furniture from the furniture manufacturer or the furniture manufacturing factory where it has been manufactured. The furniture manufacturing factory is getting the wood from the lumber company that got wood from the forest. So as you can see, the material is flowing through a continuous chain beginning from the raw material supplier, which is this, through intermediate manufacturers to the distributors or the warehouse, then to the retailer, and then finally to the end customer. This chain of organizations involved right from the raw material until the finished product is delivered to the final customer is known as supply chain. The management of supply chain can become very complex depending on the type and complexity of the organization. Let's look at a complex supply chain network. So as you can see in this supply chain network, we have multiple suppliers, multiple manufacturers, warehouses, retail outlets, and customers. Each of the suppliers is supplying to multiple manufacturers. Each manufacturer is supplying to multiple warehouses. Each warehouse can reach to multiple retail outlets, and each retail outlet is catering to multiple customers. So this is an example of a complex supply chain network where you have multiple entities interacting with each other. A supply chain is dynamic and involves constant flow of information, material, and finance or money. So let's understand this concept using this complex diagram. Now let's first understand the flow of information. So the information, primarily the demand information, is flowing from the customer through the supply chain to the suppliers. So the customer says, okay, I want X number of finished products. Now the retail outlet then replenishes its outlets through the warehouses. The warehouses give that much order to the manufacturers, and manufacturers give that much order for raw material to their suppliers. So the information is flowing from the customers to the suppliers. The material flows from the supplier to the customer. So the raw material comes from the supplier to the manufacturer. From manufacturer it goes to the warehouse. Warehouse then sends it to the retail outlets, and then finally the finished product reaches the customers. So the material is flowing from supplier to the customer. The third flow that takes place is that of finance or money. So the money is flowing from the customer to the supplier. So product is flowing from the supplier to the customer in this supply chain, while the money is flowing from the customers to the supplier. So this is the direction of finance. So as you can see, if the supplier does not supply the material on time to the manufacturer, the finished product to the distributor will get delayed. Similarly, if the distributor does not ship the material to the retailer on time, the sales of the material may get disrupted. The customer may actually go to some other retailer. Hence, the firms have realized that it is not just the firm. So let's say if in this supply chain the main firm is the one who is manufacturing and then supplying to their retail outlets. So what the organizations have realized is that it's not just the firm as a standalone, but the entire supply chain that compete with their competitors' supply chain. Again, I'll repeat, it's not just the firm alone which is competing with their competitors, but the firm's entire supply chain is competing with the supply chain of the firm's competitor. For example, let's take Unilever versus Procter & Gamble. Now, the supply chain of both these firms are competing with each other. So this is about the complex supply chain networks. Now let us understand the processes or the main processes in any supply chain. So let's take again this manufacturing firm as the main firm here, and this is the supply chain for this manufacturing firm. So let's understand what are the key processes which form the main heart of a supply chain. The first process is procurement of input materials and services. So as you can see, the manufacturing firm needs raw materials from its suppliers. So the manufacturer is heavily involved in procurement of raw materials and other services from its suppliers. The second key process is production of goods and services. So production of goods and services. So the manufacturing firm, after it gets the raw material from the suppliers, is required to produce the finished product which it can then sell to the customers. And the third key process is distribution to the end customer. So as you can see in this network, once the product is ready, it goes to the warehouse, then to the retail outlets and to the customers. So distribution is the third key process which forms the entire supply chain. Now we looked at the supply chain here primarily from the angle of a manufacturer or a manufacturing company. But the supply chain concept is not only limited to manufacturing industry, but it is also applicable to the service industry. So, for an example, let's look at the supply chain of the Dabbawalas in Mumbai, who deliver home prepared food to middle class office workers in Mumbai. So, as you can see on the screen, this is the supply chain network of the Mumbai Dabbawalas. Now, on every working day, the Dabbawalas collect around 200,000 or even more lunch boxes, which is known as Dabba in Hindi, from the customer's house between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. They go through these steps shown in the picture and deliver the lunch boxes to the respective offices by 12:30 p.m. The empty lunch boxes are then picked up by 3:30 p.m. and then returned to the homes of the respective customers by 6 p.m. So this process is reversed also in the same manner. So as you can see in this picture, the lunch boxes are picked up from home, collected at a central location, then aggregated and sorted at the station, then dropped off at different stations based on the final destination, then from that station again picked up by the Dabbawalas, finally delivered to the customers, and then the same cycle repeats on the way back home. So, though the supply chain of this service is very complex, the Dabbawalas have achieved 6 Sigma quality in delivery. So, quality is one of the key aspects where they have achieved 6 Sigma. So, what this means is that no more than 1 in 6 million deliveries goes wrong, which is an outstanding effort in terms of delivery quality. They have developed a very effective coding system to sort the lunch boxes on both the forward and the reverse journey. So they have simplified the complexity, right? So simplification of supply chain is one of the aspects. Quality is the other aspect. And they have also kept the cost very low through the use of cost-effective mode of transportation, which is the Mumbai local trains. So low cost. So these three are the key parameters of any supply chain. If you can simplify a very complex supply chain, you can deliver with quality at a low cost. And that's what is achieved by the Mumbai Dabbawalas in this supply chain. So overall, they manage their supply chain very well, which means they provide high quality service at an affordable cost to the customers. So hope this video has given you a good idea of what really is meant by supply chain management. We look at other videos in more detail to understand further about supply chain management.